I'm Mike Stanton with Build America Mutual. This is the BAM Weekly Muni Market Update. I'm here with Chris Flossie from BAM's Capital Markets Desk. Chris, thanks for being here with me.
Thanks, Mike.
This was another week of strong inflation indicators. The CPI came out early this week showing a 7% year-over-year increase, hottest level in more than 40 years. The markets didn't react all that much more than after last week's heavy increases in yields. They were more stable and munis continued to outperform. Why don't you give us some insight as to why munis are holding up stronger than the Treasury market?
Well, in terms of the muni market, I think it's holding up well just because of the overall influx of munis over the past year in 2021 that we saw. Mutual funds had 52 consecutive weeks of inflows that we saw continue into 2022. We saw 231 million of inflows over the week. And I think that people are just anticipating more supply in terms of the infrastructure plan and things like that. So I think that munis are going to continue to hold up well in the short term.
And that 231 is relatively low compared to previous weeks, but also still positive, unlike many other sectors of the fixed income markets, where after those heavy total return losses in the first weeks of the year, we saw outflows. So still some underlying demand for munis there. Shifting over to the new issue market, this was kind of the first active week of new issues. I think it was a little more than $8 billion priced across the market. What kind of trends did you see?
Yeah, so we saw a lot of high grade issuers again this week, which we anticipated for the beginning of the year. For BAM, we saw 225 million of new issue par price. There was a good mix of competitive and negotiated activity this week. We had activity across 11 states, with the state of Washington coming up this week with a key bank price a $16 million Western Washington deal. So we don't see that state come up all that often on the insured side. And there were also two larger Pennsylvania transactions that priced this week. Also, key bank coming up, they bought a $60 million Mill Creek School District in Pennsylvania deal. And there was a negotiated sale with the Allegheny Valley Water and Sewer Authority in Pennsylvania, and that was a $34 million deal with PNC.
And both the Allegheny Valley and Western Washington deals carried the BAM Green Star designation. Allegheny Valley sustainable water and wastewater investments. And then Western Washington was actually a refinancing for a physical fitness center on the campus there that was built to a very high energy efficiency standard. The building has now been in operation, I think, for since 2001. And as part of our review process, we went back and found the university does a great job of tracking energy usage in all of its buildings. So it was continuing to demonstrate that the investments and the efficiency measures put in place when the building was constructed continue to be relevant today. So that transaction also carried the BAM Green Star designation. Right. What are you looking for the coming week?
Well, next week we have the holiday shortened week for the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, but we will see a similar aggregate calendar in roughly 8 billion. That's what's slated to price as of now. For BAM, we have $125 million of negotiated deals slated to price. We are expected to see a slight uptick in competitive activity this week, but there are a lot of deals in BAM's credit sectors and ratings that we expect to be in play and bidding in the competitive space. There are two $35 million deals slated to price next week. RBC is pricing 2 series of a Newark school district deal in California, not New Jersey. And then there's also 2 series of Donna, Texas, with Stiefel totaling, again, roughly 30 to 35 million.
Great. Well, thanks for the information and insights this week, Chris, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Mike.